Iran's stricter hijab bill faces Islamic hardliner backlash for leniency. And like, no, this is not actually tougher. This is actually easier. Excuse me, sir. In a surprising twist, Iran's push for a new, stricter hijab law has ignited intense backlash, not only from human rights activists, but also from Islamic hardliners. Approved by the Iranian judiciary on the weekend of May 27th and 28th, the proposed bill mandates harsher penalties for violations of the Islamic dress code, including fines, deprivation of social rights, and up to 3 years of imprisonment. The bill also targets anti-hijab social media campaigners, bringing them under the purview of legal penalties. Yet, despite its perceived harshness, hardliners, including the editor of the hardliner daily, Kayhan, Hussein Shari Madari, argue that the bill is insufficient, inadvertently paving the way for the expansion of unveiling. Likewise, Mehdi Salashur, another hardliner, sardonically suggested the bill should be renamed the Bill to Support the Unveiled. As Iran grapples to balance appeasing its supporters and maintaining its international image, the proposed legislation's ultimate fate remains in the balance. The draft bill has yet to be debated and voted on by lawmakers. Armin, have you heard about this?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me everything you know.
There has been some very, very intense pushback. And so much so that the people responsible for the bill are like, okay, we'll revisit the bill, right? But yeah, well, we don't know what's going to happen. But I've been hearing complaints from a lot of really religious people. And so for example, I was watching a video of a mullah like making fun of this bill. And he says, like, based on these new laws, this is how it works, right? You're not supposed to like keep insisting, go on. Like, I've seen people getting arrested for harassing people for their hijab. So like,
that's crazy. That still blows my mind.
Yeah, so religious people are now, because they feel like so many women in Iran are taking off their hijab and the officials are not doing anything about it. There's the religious people that are trying to enforce the hijab rules themselves, and they call the police on hijabless women, and they themselves are the ones who get arrested because of harassment, right?
What is happening?
No, because I think the government is afraid of what like more of another protest starting because of all the conflict, right? So it's not the government. It's not like the government has come to its senses. The government is terrified, right? So, but some of the police are act pretty base. Like some of the police are like, stop, like get really angry, and not all of them. A lot of them are like, horrible people. But I saw videos of like police showing up and telling the Chadori woman, the religious woman, to stop harassing people. And there was one police that says like, based on your responsibility is just to tell them once, and if they don't listen to you, you're done. Your job is done. Because in Islam, you have Amr bil Ma'ruf and Nahy anil Munkar. So you are supposed to see somebody with a job. It's a religious duty to tell them to cover up, right? But when the police shows up, I see videos of the police reminding you that you told them and you can't follow them. You're harassing them. Like you can tell them once and then you're done.
Wow.
So you're done. Right. So I saw the mullah, like a video of a mullah complaining about this law, and the mullah was like saying that, so you're not supposed to like follow them and stuff like that. You're supposed to, if you see you want to report like a crime, you call them, right? And then they will respond to you like, sorry, we don't have a camera in that corner, so we can't do anything about it. You can say, okay. And then you call again and like, oh, sorry, in that corner, we don't have a camera as well. So sorry, we can't do it. And then finally you call and like, oh, okay, we have a camera. And we identified the person. You reported the person without a hijab. So we're going to follow through. And then like what happens is like the first warning is that they get a text and they get like a fine the first time you get a warning, right? And like, okay, so now you see them again and now you report it. And oh, luckily there's a camera there as well. So they They get a second warning, and the second warning comes with a fine, and you're like, finally, the authorities are doing something, and how much should they get a fine for? It's like as much as of a falafel. Falafel? Is that how you said it in English?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's why some people were mocking it, some religious people, they're calling it the falafel law, because like you get, so you get to basically, after so much, investigations and follow through and warning, eventually you finally get a fine, which is like as much as of a sandwich or whatever you want to pay. So people are like, they're not that worried about it, because like, yeah, I want to be free. So if the rare cases that it gets that much, I'll just pay the fine. And then it gets more serious and more serious. But they're saying that it's very rare for people to see any meaningful punishment. So basically, they're saying this is just a license. So you get to pay just a little bit, just for the privilege. So and also they're saying that this is actually richer people now are less caring about the fine. So this is like the upper class people in Iran who are more likely to want to go hijabless. They don't feel that big of a deal paying the fine, and the poorer people who might have a little bit more religious people. It used to be like that, but now even they are anti-religious. Even they are becoming more anti-religious. But they're saying like this is just a two-tier system where some people see the fine as a big deal, and some people who are richer are just going to be able to just pay the fine and go hijabless, right? So yeah, so there's that. But yeah, so it seems like they're trying to loosen up the controls, and a lot of religious people are extremely angry, and that's the regime is terrified, like, because these are people who are powerful and they have a lot of influence in the government. So if they turn against the regime, people are crying over this. Like, people are saying, like, what are you doing with the blood of the martyrs? The martyrs died for keeping this country Islamic, and we're slowly losing that. And they're talking about like, oh, we're going to become like Western countries where everybody sleeps with anybody, and the foundations of family is ruined, and our society is going to collapse from within because we don't have hijab anymore. And like, do you know how many people in America don't know who their father is? This is where Iran is heading, So yeah, so they're saying, I don't know, they have some weird stats. I have to double check that. They, like, these Islamic channels, they're saying like, I don't know, 60% of Americans don't know who their father is.
What?
When you don't, and this is what you get when you don't have hijab. Is that the case? Do 60% of Americans don't know who their father is? No?
I mean, I know a lot of Americans, and I can say that out of the people in my life, definitely not 60% don't know who their dad is.
Yeah. So they're saying like this is going to be devastating. Imagine the hardship the Iranian people have to go through if Iran becomes like the United States. They're like warning us, like, we're heading in that direction. That's their warning.
Oh my God. Even Mustafa is saying, my brother says that all the time. Does your brother go outside? I've lived in America like my whole life. I don't even know if I know anyone that doesn't know who their dad is. Like, literally. Yeah. Except maybe if they were adopted from a foreign country, that's different. Like,
so a lot of Iranian people say, like, a lot of Iranians who are questioning this narrative, because they keep warning it. Like, they say without hijab, the foundations of society will fall apart because the family base, the family unit is being attacked. And people are asking them, well, how come other societies haven't fallen apart, right? Like, how come and they're like, they have. They're like, look, in the US, people don't know who their fathers are. That means like that's the definition of the collapse of society, right? And people are like, first of all, they haven't collapsed, but they think like, let's say in the United States, most people didn't know who their fathers are. And let's say that was a horrible thing, okay? But the rest of the world is not United States. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, like in Egypt, people are free not to wear the hijab, right? In Malaysia, people are free not to wear the hijab. In Japan, people are free not to wear the hijab. Like in Philippines, Philippines is very family oriented. They don't have the hijab. They don't have hijab laws. In China is very family oriented. They don't have hijab laws. How's every other country? There's only 2 countries on the planet that has mandatory hijab laws. which is Iran and Afghanistan. There's no other
And
country.
look at how they're doing.
And they're not doing very great. So I don't know what you're talking about.
I mean,
Oh my
I
God.
have friends, they're Iranians, and like they love their country so much. And even they're like, Iran is a shithole. Like, just from the infrastructure and the amenities and how people are treated and the risks to your life. Like, yeah. And there are people who like love their country and culture, and even they're like, this is disaster.
Okay, actually, maybe China is not the best example, yeah, but Mexico is very family oriented, right? Brazil is very family oriented. These are not, they don't have hijab. So I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, so these are good examples. All right. Should we go? Can we clap for the next?
Yeah, well, before we go, do you think that the hijab law will actually go through? Like, what do you think will kind of be the consequences of this on a broader scale?
I think we're moving towards hijab not being, in effect, not being mandatory.
Wow.
No.
Wow.
Yeah, but like maybe on the books it's mandatory, but in effect it's not going to be mandatory. Which is, some people think that people like us have reduced the revolution to hijab, and this is by design by the Islamic Republic, so that they could give you, so that
A
they
handout.
could give you voluntarily hijab and close their revolution, shut down the revolution, which is insane because these, this is just one level. You know what I mean? Like once you get this, you're gonna go to you want more. Like this is not, it's not like people see like, oh, we got voluntarily hijab, so let's like not want anything else. No, it's actually a signal of weakness. People are gonna see that their revolution is getting them things that they want, so they're gonna be more encouraged to keep fighting. So I completely disagree with that position, but we'll see.
Yeah, you need people who are very revolutionary to put the pressure on the regime to force them to change. Even if there is no eventual toppling, there still needs to be that threat, because that's the only way in which behavior will demonstrably change. I have a lot of thoughts about this, especially because the foreign relations have been changing with Iran, and it's, I don't know, upsetting, but
yeah,
that's a different topic.
Yes, a different topic. Wait, I was gonna say something about so I think a lot of people, the young generation in Iran, is completely aware that this is not a fight that is it ends with the hijab. The hijab has been an excuse for being anti the Islamic Republic, right? So we're not reducing the revolution to hijab. It has been a tool of expression of views against the Islamic Republic, right? So it's not been reduced to the hijab.